Hi there, and welcome to our session as part of the Workato Automate User Conference. This session is focused on how Connor Group enabled Latch's automation journey by optimizing their opportunity to cash processes using Workato. My name is Jay Allen Goddard, and I'm going to be your host for today's session. We are so lucky today to have two outstanding leaders with us. First is Jason Pickus, who's the lead partner of Connor Group's financial operation practice. At Connor Group, Jason is focused on high growth companies and helping them achieve their strategic objectives. And he works across all finance and operational functions, helping clients define their business strategy and goals, setting up and deploying broad-based process improvement initiatives, defining and implementing technology strategies, and assessing and advising on organizational structure. Prior to Connor Group, Jason was a director in the project management office at McAfee and a director at KPMG in its advisory practice. During his career, Jason has served clients such as Google, VMware, Spotify, RingCentral, and many other high growth and high tech companies. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great, thanks, Jay Allen. Really excited to be here and share some experiences and thoughts on this very important topic.
Awesome. We're also so fortunate today to have Steve Atanasio with us today from Latch. Steve is leading Latch's efforts to scale their financial operations in order to enable their long-term high growth expectations. In this role, Steve's focus is on implementing systems, automating processes, mitigating risks to ultimately optimize Latch's operations. Prior to Latch, Steve was at Ernst & Young, WeWork, and is also a proud Connor Group alumni. Steve, we know that you are incredibly busy at Latch, so thank you so much for taking the time to join us today as well.
Thanks so much for having me, John.
Yeah. So before we jump into our presentation, I'd like us to talk a little bit about Latch and Connor Group. Steve, why don't we start with you? Can you tell us a little bit about Latch?
Yes, thank you. So Latch was founded in 2014. We are an enterprise SaaS provider to buildings and residents that make spaces better places to live, work, and visit. We are the makers of a full building enterprise software as a service platform called Latch OS and the corresponding hardware products that enable the software. Typically, Latch OS is the first multifamily operating system that brings together all the elements that make up the modern building for building managers, residents, and service providers. The company has booked over 300,000 units across more than 35 states, with over 10% of multifamily apartments in the United States built with Latch in 2019.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve. I'd like to talk a little bit about Connor Group for those of you who are not familiar with us. So Connor Group is a specialized services firm with experience in financial and accounting advisory. We're a Workato partner. In fact, we were the Workato Partner of the Year for both 2018 and 2019 as well. We have several service lines who serve clients that are pre-IPO and who are pre-cap companies. We have 1,000 high growth clients in software, technology, and biotech industries. And mainly we're comprised of Big Four alumni and industry executives. Most importantly, we are the leader in technology strategy, innovation, and automation. In fact, at Connor Group, our client portfolio includes multi-billion-dollar public, mid-cap public, and pre-IPO companies ranging from early stage to late stage. Since the firm was founded, we have grown to more than 300 professionals with industry experience across the board: biotech, clean tech, consumer products, fintech, gaming, internet life sciences, social networking, software, and technology. Connor Group supports some of the world's top growth companies as they transform and create new markets. Our clients typically engage Connor Group because we specialize in the end-to-end opportunity to cash process and data flows. We are experts in financial and accounting systems, processes, and controls, and have a deep understanding of the financial reporting and analytical requirements faced by our high growth, high tech clients. We've invested in strategic partnerships with some of the key technology companies that enable this, including Workato, NetSuite, Zone Advanced Billing, Coupa, Snowflake, and many others. Given our focus on high growth tech companies, Latch and Connor Group were a perfect fit. Here at Connor Group, we work with companies who are always looking for and adopting many of the best new technologies, including integration platforms such as Workato. Jason, I'll turn it over to you. You've supported so many of Connor Group's clients over the past 9 years, including Latch. What trends are you seeing in today's landscape?
Great, thank you, Jay Allen. There'll be 3 trends that I'm going to chat about today, and really stem from a lot of the experiences that I've had over the last several years. The first one is around the fact that there's a really large volume of available technology out there, and there are very deep capabilities. What I mean by that, there are many technologies that company can choose from, and these are providing really extensive automation capabilities to most of our clients. We are also seeing that all our clients are basically moving into the cloud, are already starting in the cloud. Nobody seems to want to own any physical infrastructure anymore. So the cloud is the way that everybody is moving across the entire technology stack. These cloud systems that people are buying are designed to continuously evolve and improve. So although our clients are buying a technology capability from day one, they are also very interested in where the product is going. In other words, when they are choosing technology, they are focused on what the capabilities their system provides today, but also those that are in the roadmap for the future. What we have seen is the main finance and ERP systems and players have actually remained much the same for the last several years. Still Oracle, SAP, NetSuite, Microsoft Dynamics are probably the biggest players in the ERP space. Many of the new technologies that are coming into the market are actually focused on solving a specific business need. Quote to cash or billing, treasury, procure to pay, and of course, automation versus new companies building a brand new end-to-end financial ERP or ERP system. Business needs, on the other hand, have become increasingly complex. So although the technology capabilities have really improved in the last several years, the rapid evolution of business needs means that many of these business needs are still unsupported. Let me give you a common example coming out of the order to cash space. There are many strong technologies that support the order to cash flow. However, the way that salespeople interact with customers, how products are being architected, the billing, the revenue recognition needs, especially with businesses that are kind of moving towards that recurring business model, subscriptions, usage-based, have made the complexity of billing and the order to cash process significantly more complex than the past, and really are creating a lot of limitations on what technology is available out there. So what does this all mean? Well, it means that most of our clients have a landscape with many, many systems. It's no longer this one system that acts operating in the center. Companies still lean on their ERP as kind of the central for finance, but are surrounding it by many other point solutions to solve many of their business needs and get amazing capabilities. Therefore, the ability to connect, integrate, and automate data flows is more important than ever. Go to the next slide. Okay. In addition to more systems being in the landscape, technology must also work across a broader range of platforms and devices. Many environments and many systems already support varying operating systems, such as Microsoft and iOS. But users want to be able to access and operate on these technologies using their preferred devices. Frankly, many people don't want to work on a laptop anymore and would much prefer to operate on their phones or their tablets. Lastly, users expect to be able to access the data when they want it from where they are. The workforce is increasingly mobile and is increasingly remote. Therefore, they cannot and do not frankly want to be locked into a specific location to get their work done or to access their data. That also means that they want to access their functionality, their data, from the applications they prefer. Many do not want to have to access multiple systems to be able to get things done. For example, many business users want to and need to be able to initiate purchases or check on the status of their customer invoices, but would prefer not to have to log into the ERP or email finance to do that. So in summary, we are seeing a broad and deep evolving technology landscape, increasing number of systems in the landscape, and users with significantly higher expectation and needs than in the past. The last item I'll touch on, and the headline might be something that many of you are familiar with. You have lots of powerful technology, and it's in place, but it actually fails to yield anywhere near the results that you were promised. I think we've all had that experience of sitting through a demo, seeing a dazzling display of dashboards, reports, automation, workflows. This is going to make our life a total dream. Then 6 to 12 months later, you're live and wondering what the heck happened. Where is all this magic that I saw? Why am I not seeing these promised improvements? We refer to this as the technology conundrum. Huge investment in amazing technology, but the environment continues to be inefficient. Lots of manual tasks are still in place. There's little real automation, and teams still unable to get the data, the analytics, and the reporting that they need. Sadly, Excel continues to still be the primary reporting tool being used by most companies. Steve, you've experienced some of these challenges at Latch and frankly at some of the other companies. Would you mind sharing a little bit of your experiences and some of the challenges that you guys experienced?
Yes, thank you, Jason. Latch made the decision to implement Salesforce in 2020, and as part of the decision to implement Salesforce, the decision was made to build a homegrown solution to handle our integration between NetSuite and Salesforce. Almost immediately in the testing phases, we ran into some pretty significant challenges with that integration layer. Specifically, it was extremely brittle and could not adjust to our changing business requirements. It couldn't meet the standard requirements that we had as far as latency issues, and it required significant investment and high levels of maintenance from our engineering team, which frankly should be working on much more important work than the transferring of orders between Salesforce and NetSuite. We needed a much more robust solution in order to meet our needs, and we needed a solution that we could tailor and tweak and update as our business changed, as we uncovered new ways of selling our products to the market and to our customers. As things were constantly shifting, we needed something that was much more flexible and that can meet our needs. Along that journey, we did engage the Connor Group to assist and talk through some of the challenges that we were facing. Additionally, we did look at several different integration providers, Dell Boomi and a few others. What we liked about Workato, other than Connor Group's recommendation to engage Workato, was that it had an extremely friendly user interface that we could, as part of our team in the FinOps team, we could own the solution going forward. We could make the adjustments necessary to the recipes. We wouldn't have to require bogging down our engineering teams to assist us with our integration layers. It has been extremely easy to make updates and maintain as we've uncovered new integration points that we've added to our recipes. When we first engaged the Connor Group, the first two bullets under the Salesforce and Oracle NetSuite columns were originally in scope, and then were later added in the following two recipes because of how easy it was to add them as we were going through our business requirements gathering. And it was very successful and great to have it upon go live.
Thanks, Steve. That's refreshing to hear, especially, and maybe you'll be surprised by this, maybe you won't, the how often we see very similar challenges across today. So all of those points that you made were so relevant and timely to what we're seeing in the market this year. Jason, this use case that Steve's talking about, that's a typical starting point for our clients. Can you share what Connor Group's perspective is on how we approach these integration use cases like we saw at Latch?
Absolutely. If we can just maybe pop to the next slide, there we go. So yes, I mean, this is a fairly typical scenario. We often use what we might think of integration and automation as a maturity curve. right? As people invest more and mature over time, they get more value out of it. And this is the maturity curve that we use when we often think about integration automation. At its most simplistic, we are pushing transactions from one system to the other. Probably in some respects, the most common approach taken by companies. The primary benefit, it really reduces a lot of manual work and double entry and reduces the amount of error. And that's, to be honest, probably where we started with Latch in terms of just how do we get some of these transactions from system A to system B. But technology integration, technology automation can provide so much more value than just taking data from point A to point B. In our second tier, the integration also provides automation. In other words, it actually automates procedures. These powerful integration technologies like Workato can also help transform and enrich data, embed workflows, decision trees, and exception reporting to help automate many of the manual tasks that humans would need to do today when following a transactional integration. So we find as companies move to that second tier, they actually start driving enhanced benefits from the automation process. The third tier is one where we often see the most value, but also the most user satisfaction, right? Using the technology, the integration of automation platform to make sure that we are capturing all the required data in the right way will then enable us to do deep and timely analytics. For example, if you're wanting to do downstream reporting on customer types, you need to make sure that your customer type is captured upstream, right? Also make sure that you've integrated all that information into the ERP will really facilitate that very powerful reporting that people so often look for, right? It will reduce the amount that people have to spend in spreadsheets and Excel. For the user enablement, and what I mean by that is users are able to operate within the technology they prefer versus having to be logging into many different technologies to get their daily tasks done. User enablement also means that we're putting the data at the user's fingertips so that they can operate on a daily basis, or maybe it's a periodic decision-making that they need, right? And in today's day and age, with the automation technology available and many of the cloud solutions, this actually is relatively simple. Imagine a world where an engineer or a salesperson can log into their one preferred technology and from there perform almost all their tasks. It's extremely efficient and really raises user satisfaction. Let me share an interesting example. Many of our clients use collaboration tools like Slack to perform many of their daily tasks. Many salespeople also need to get an understanding of what's the status of my customer invoice? What is the aging of my customer? And they need this information on a real-time basis. In many existing technology environments, that would mean that salesperson either has to have access to NetSuite so they could, or the ERP to be able to go in and see it, or they're having to email accounting and get a status update. Well, in this tier 3 of this integration automation environment, your Slack environment is set up where a simple request typed into Slack will real time provide the salesperson with the information that they need. Whether it's, did we bill the customer? How much did we bill the customer? What is the status of their invoice? This can significantly improve the user experience, simplify training, reduce the number of user licenses, and frankly, just make the whole experience a lot better. Steve, we utilize some of this approach, as we work with the Latch. Can you share some of the results and the benefits that came out of your, integration journey?
Yes, thanks, Jason. So we went live with our Workato integration just before the end of March. We specifically wanted to go live right before we typically run into a big quarter-end push for our sales folks, and we see a lot of volume on the order side and a lot of volume on the data that's passing between the two systems. Right away, we realized we had a very high level of success and received very positive feedback from the organization. Our newly hired Chief Revenue Officer announced the integration went live to our sales folks and that issues regarding the integration layer would no longer plague them. We immediately uncovered further integration opportunities with key stakeholders, even while we were performing our testing and our business requirements gathering, adding in customer balance updates on the Salesforce records, as well as the status of shipped units to job sites, so that salespeople didn't have to slack our supply chain team to get updates as to where the units were the tracking information would be sent back to Salesforce as soon as it was ready. And then the last thing is we did uncover an unexpected win in that our data quality has been something of a challenge since we were on NetSuite CRM starting in 2017. And what the Workato integration was able to uncover was various different exceptions as far as data quality and cleanliness. As far as results, we uncovered several hundred instances of data errors, whether it was duplicates, buildings that were no longer owned by certain developers, failure to update certain records. All of that was surfaced using the Workato integration, whereas in the past with our homegrown solution, we would simply just get an error with no sort of way of telling where that error had originated from. A significantly higher percentage of consistency amongst our orders pushed to NetSuite was realized upon go live. New integrations and data points passed between Salesforce and NetSuite. We have a significant reduction in users in NetSuite because all of the work that they were previously operating in two systems to accomplish, they can now just do in Salesforce and no longer need to be present in NetSuite in our ERP. Much better user experience amongst our sales, operations, supply chain, finance, and accounting teams. There was a much greater confidence in the information that's passed in between the two systems, much less variability in the exception reporting. And the last thing was that we achieved improved efficiency and a severe reduction in manual tasks. No longer were salespeople constantly slacking our very busy supply chain team. No longer were they slacking our accounting team to get the status of invoices being sent out to customers. All that information is at their fingertips. And no longer do we have those folks fielding calls from our sales team.
Steve, those are some amazing results in a really short period of time since go live at the end of March. What is next on your roadmap?
Yeah, so we have a number of different exciting opportunities that we're really looking forward to leveraging Workato and assisting us with. First up for us in the very near future, we are going to be linking our Salesforce, NetSuite, and Coupa environments to assist with what we are calling direct deployment, which involves both revenue from a sales cycle perspective, as well as third-party labor from an expense perspective. So this allows us to sell an order in Salesforce, create a project in NetSuite, and then recognize vendor bills from Coupa in NetSuite, and then pass back the net profitability of those engagements back to Salesforce for the project managers, all utilizing Workato recipes. The next thing we're looking into is various different staging and notifications, utilizing some of the core systems that we already have in place at Latch today. We use Jira tickets for most of our help desks, as well as for supporting our different in-scope financial applications. And we're looking forward to looking into how Workato can help us integrate those systems even better and bring those systems together. And the last thing that we're also considering is how we can better automate our payroll process, especially for new hire checklists and all the steps that need to be accomplished before a new hire is onboarded, as well as for when employees are leaving Latch as well, and all the steps on removing access from various different systems. And we're looking forward to both engaging Connor Group to assist us with some of these next steps with Workato, but also looking forward to having some internal resources work within Workato and develop our own recipes as well, and show the business how valuable our relationship with Workato is to Latch.
That's a really exciting roadmap. And I think one of the things that we're really excited at Connor Group is seeing the rapid kind of success that you saw after your initial go live just a few short weeks ago. So Steve, thank you so much for coming today and being willing to share both the challenges as well as the successes that you've experienced at Latch and early on in this Workato journey that you've gone through. So thank you so much.
Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah. I'd also like to thank Jason. Jason, you are so busy, but thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge and expertise with us. As the leader of our FinOps practice here at Connor Group, our clients have seen tremendous successes in just the past 2 years by leveraging those FinOps services as we partner and have really amazing successes with Workato. So Jason, thanks again.
Totally a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to address any questions people might have.
Awesome. If you'd like to learn any more about Connor Group's digital solution service offerings and want to have a one-on-one with with myself or anybody at Connor Group, please stop by the Connor Group booth, or you can send me an email at j.allen.goddard@connorgroup.com. We're also all on LinkedIn, and we look forward to speaking to each of you whenever you'd like to. So thank you so much again.